we have. But that's this extreme. On the other extreme, now, and if I were, let's say, if you're an Asian girl, if you're an Asian girl and I'm an Asian girl, then you'll believe it more, right? If you're an old black guy, you might not believe it as much. Whatever. Like everybody's like, the more relevant you can make the avatar who's getting the experience, it becomes more analogous for them. They say, oh, that person looks just like me. Therefore, I can take that experience and say it would also happen for me, which is fundamentally why we have different avatars when you're trying to show proof.
And this is like customer success stories for us
Yeah.
seem to be doing the best. So
Proof.
it's the proof.
Yeah. And on this extreme, the worst one would be something that's, instead of visual, it's descriptive. So instead of showing you the teeth, it talks about the experience. And it would be not visual at all, so it's not video, it's text. And it's of a person that is not like the person who's reading it, and it's 5 years old, right? And so it's like these are degrees of proof. And so if you give yourself kind of a proof audit, which is, I had an ad I remember a few years ago, it was one of the top ads. I just had made a post in my community of gym owners. I just said, how much extra money have you made since you've been here? I was like, just answer. And then all I did was I recorded my screen and I just scrolled. And it was 5 minutes of scrolling. That was the ad. And it crushed. Made me a lot of money.
Wow. Yeah, it's just like I noticed when we share customer success stories, it's one thing to just say it, that's better than nothing, but when we show it, so for in the real estate niche or in the mortgage niche, when we show the real numbers that somebody saved or that we show the result we got our clients, it seems to work really well. And so I would encourage everyone here to just really double down on that. And I've always been wondering why it works so well, and Alex just explained it like perfectly. So that was a great analogy. So one thing I wanted to kind of clarify for everyone here is you talk a lot about content strategy, and then a lot of it relates to YouTube, but then you do a ton of short form as well. Which do you like for someone building their personal brand? Where should they start? Where should they double down, or is it all of the things? Like where should they kind of
Yeah.
focus?
So I think it's helpful to think like, okay, what is advertising? Advertising is just letting people know about your stuff. And so as many ways as you can let as many people as possible know about your stuff, great. So then it comes down to return on resources. So because like take it to the natural extreme, if you only did shorts and you were amazing at them, you would make a lot of money. If you only did longs and were amazing at them, you'd make a lot of money. So it's not which one is it. It then comes down to the person of what's my return on effort. You may be better naturally or have some head start in one of these two directions, or you might not have the resources right now to make good enough long form videos that you get stuff. Maybe shorts a little easier for you. Then in that case, if you look at this much effort that I'm going to be putting in, then you do have an absolute A B answer of like, no, shorts is what I should do because given these resources, I'll get a higher return on it. And so that's very much between your resources and your skill sets. But
Yep.
we started with shorts because I could put out more of them and I did them once every 90 days. So the team would fly out, I would sit there, I'd record 100 in one sitting, and then that was it. And then I would go back to work. And then people will watch them and I
Yeah.
had to make more.
And then, yeah, so that's how many of us discovered you is through
Yeah.
shorts, and then we found your long form and all that stuff. But I think like people don't have that budget, that big budget to get started, or maybe they do,
I mean,
but
time budget too. Time
yeah,
budget
time
too.
budget,
Yeah, when I
same
say
thing.
resources. Yeah, sorry. Keep
Yeah,
going.
same thing. But it's like, but I noticed when I recently attended one of your workshops, business workshops, and we talked about like, you know, the constraint, finding the constraint in your business, and for people who are trying to build their personal brand, their constraint may be content distribution, or it might be editing, or it might be getting this stuff out there. And I feel like we make investments everywhere else, but and we know that content works, and we know that doing more content would work, but we don't do it. And why is it that like we spend resources and money and time on the shit that doesn't, like, I even got this real we spend resources and money and time on the shit that doesn't, like, I even got this realization sitting in the workshop, like, what the fuck am I doing, bro? Like, there's something that works. Why am I not doing more of that?
Yeah.
And then I'm wasting my time over here. Is it like, are we all like, do we have like an internal defect like that makes us go this way?
No, I think it's short-term reward. That's it. Like fundamentally, like if you can delay reward, if you can actually just work without needing to see some sort of cookie immediately, you can beat everybody. Like it's not even like you have to wait that long. You just got to be able to wait longer than most people, and most people can't wait ever at all. And so to Neil's point, one of the issues is, especially within the entrepreneurial community, is that we're rewarded very early on in our careers for switching. You were in a career that you hated, you were in a job that you didn't like, you were in some circumstance, you decided to start a business, and so you changed, you took a massive action, you changed your conditions, right? And then you got rewarded for that. And the problem is that you need to do that once and then never do it again. Because once you're in, now you've made the big change. Now the big change is inside that you have to make, which is you have to learn to persist. And a lot of that looks like facing the unknown and having no idea what you're going to do and taking steps anyways, under the faith that with each step you will learn a little bit more and get a little bit better, and you will be able to see one step ahead. And that's all it is, and that has not changed my entire.
People ask me what my 5-year plans are. I'm like, I don't know, because 5 years from now I have so many options I can't see. But I know that today I need to do this, and it's the same thing I had to do yesterday. And I will keep doing it until we get to this point, because then that will open up other options.
Yeah, and so, like, that, finding that problem and focusing on it, it may not be the most fun thing, is what I found. Like, it's going to be really hard to find that person. Like, we haven't tried, we've gone through people, it didn't work, and we've had to fire people and bring them back and do all these things, and then that part, though, is where, like, we're going to see the most growth. It's the difficult shit that nobody talks about.
Yeah, most of the solutions that are required to grow a business are not novel, interesting, or fun. It's like, okay, so I'll give you an example. Like we bought a company, it's a big chain, it has 30-something locations, and so we're like, okay, so we spent 4 hours redesigning the sales process at 5x LTV, and I was like, all right, roll it out over the, to the next, like retrain the entire staff across all the companies, all the locations. They're like, that's gonna take like 6 months, and I was like, yep, we're not gonna do anything else. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. But what about content? What about ads? It was like, why would we care about any of that? Like if we 5x LTV with this new sales process, that is all that matters. In terms of all the resources we have, is there anything else that's going to 5x this business in the next 6 months? No. Then go away, shush. Like, just do that. And so a lot of you guys have all of these go away, shush ideas that you need to tell yourself, like, go away, shush. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, if you have 10 sales guys, and those sales guys are doing X volume for you, then tell me why we can't have 100 sales guys. Like, explain to me the physics of why we can't have 100 sales guys. Or is it simply that, like, you don't know how to recruit, hire, and train, which is a skill deficiency and solvable? Or is it that, okay, well, after we spend a certain amount of money on ads, our ROAS stops dropping. Okay, then your ads suck.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, go ahead.
you said something like, it's not unscalable, you're just unskilled.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
Not
like,
a harsh truth, but
yeah, no business is like, because I get this question all the time. They're like, am I in the right vehicle? And sometimes I wish I hadn't made that video, because I feel like it gave a lot of entrepreneurs permission to like jump out on things that are completely legitimate, fine businesses, and are just hard. And it's stressful, and it's always stressful. It never stops being stressful. So like, stop seeing stress is a bad thing. Sorry, just as a side rant there.
yeah.
But if you simply frame the thing that is blocking the business as something you do not know how to do, so rather than saying sales guys don't work for my business, say I don't know how to get sales guys to work for my business, right? Instead of saying Facebook ads don't work, say I don't know how to make Facebook ads work. All right, there's a big difference. And fundamentally, first off, if you're in a business where there's other players in the marketplace, if someone else is doing it, it obviously can be done. And the funny thing is that to develop the skills that are required for some of these things, like Facebook ads or hiring a sales guy or writing a script, like it takes like 20 hours tops. Like Facebook is a gazillion-dollar company that had all of these really smart engineers try and make it as easy as possible for you to make money on Facebook so that you would pay them more money. Like, a lot of these tech platforms and people are so afraid of, it's like, they spend so much money to try and make this easy, and you're still a pussy for not trying. Because you're afraid of looking stupid to yourself when no one's watching, which is ridiculous.
Clap it up. And so,
Nice.
get the lesson with.
And
that creates issues for me. is gone. It is. Oh, okay. It is gone now.
What's up, motherfucker? Useless. You're being hypnotized. So true, bro.
Hello.
Shut up. Think. บอยไป just proof
So, you know, if I can be honest with you, like, I remember seeing you speak at Bradley's office in 2020. And, bro, like, I was lost, man. It wasn't that it was boring. It was just, I just got lost. I didn't know what you were saying. And, so I noticed, like, people here who, like, see Alex now, they're like, man, this is amazing, blah, blah. But I feel like you were still of a similar intellect at that time as you are today. But now you've become like so much better at presenting and teaching and all the content. And so I feel like is it the reps? Is it something that you really focused on? Did you get a coach? Like, how did you go from having all this knowledge and throwing it up on spreadsheets that no one can understand to being able to present the ideas to where now millions of people in the country learn from you as their teacher?
So the process that I outlined in terms of making content better and finding ads that worked is probably the single most repeated process I have in my life, which is I do a ton of volume, and then I look at the top 10% of that volume, and I see what does this have that's different than this other 90. And then when I see, ideally, if I properly identify what the difference is between that 10 and 90, then I cut out the stuff that's in the 90 and do 10 times more of the 10, and then I do it again. And that has fundamentally been how I've approached everything. If I want to look at, like, how do I improve a sales script, I listen to all the sales calls. I look at the ones that were like, these calls are pristine, they're awesome calls. Like, look at the looping, all the stuff that's involved. We're like, okay, what was different about these calls versus the others? Okay, we didn't talk about this thing. We didn't ask this question. We did add this question. And so then the script gets pruned and it gets cleaner, it gets tighter. And so when I looked at the content that was doing better, it was content where I didn't use big words, where I didn't talk about complex topics, or rather I talked about complex topics in a simple way. And so I was like, oh, so one of my first early videos that hit was, which now has come to haunt me, how to get your wife to go where you want to go to dinner, which is, you know, you wouldn't be opposed to going to Cheesecake Factory, would you? Which now everyone asks me if I'm opposed to doing podcasts, opposed to doing speaking events, whatever. But the thing is that it was a sales technique, but it was applied in a way that could be more accessible to other people. And I see that as kind of like the best of both, is if you can, like, I'm not against getting a viral video, as long as it's about business. And so that was a video that talked about a really powerful sales technique, but did it in a context that many people are in every day, which is figuring out what you want to eat for, what do you want to eat for dinner. And so that was a great crossover. So I was like, okay, what was in this video? I was like, well, we had big brand names, so that was something that people recognized. I was like, I used simple words, I used an experience that happens to many people all the time, but it was tied to something that could make money. So it's like, these are all the things. And so then when I'm making other content, it's like, okay, is there a brand that we can draw into this? Is there an example we can pull in? Is there? And so it's fundamentally doing that process of the first step that everyone skips, do a shit ton. Then look at the stuff that worked well, and then do more of that. And I know that sounds incredibly simple, and the only thing simpler is just not doing it.
Hey, are you trying to build your personal brand through better content online? Well, if so, the number one thing you can do is start your videos. About a process recently where you switched to doing more pre-work. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, and we have a little saying is, was it an ounce of pre is worth a pound of post? That's our little, all the media guys are like, please, more pre-work, because more stuff they have to do on post otherwise. I will say this, who here makes content? Can I get a hand raised? Okay, so keep your hand raised if the content, if you've had a piece of content you made that you like really prepared a lot for. You know, not all of them, like you've had one that you really like took some time on. Okay, did that piece outperform your normal pieces? Okay, well, some of you suck at making content. The thing is that when we prep a lot for a video, we know that it's going to do better in general. And so there's those, and then there's the equal opposite, which is where I'm fired up about something. I'm like, turn the fucking camera on. Like, I'm tired of this. And so then it just becomes a rant. But like, those are kind of the two polar extremes. The middle is where it kind of sucks, right? Where you're going in, you're punching the clock. You're like, all right, what are we going to talk about today? Like, might as well not make it. But fundamentally, if you have each video that you outline, what's the promise for this person, right? What is the proof that I can deliver on that promise? And then what's the plan that I'm going to walk them through? And you want to get all that done in like 8 seconds if it's a long one. Like, we're experimenting right now. I'll tell you guys a fun experiment we're running. We're trying a no intro video. Yeah, it's gonna be really weird. We're gonna see what happens. But like, I'm so convinced that just the more and more we shorten this intro, people like, think about you when you consume a video. You just you skip past it. You just want to get to the meat. And so I was like, all right, well, if we have, 13 ways to create a monopoly ethically, we should just make it like, all right, so the first way is, and just go right into the video. And then have a lower third that edifies me and covers some of the, like, who's this guy? And so anyways, that stuff works for me, just to give you an idea of how much I really want to compress that. And that's the stuff that people obsess about. And in ads, for example, I know I'm going on, but if you run paid ads, the first half second is tiny. It's tiny, tiny. Like, you have to obsess about it. And I've been running ads for a long time now, and I've been making content for a short time. But in both of those, all I can tell you is that it's been unidirectional in terms of my obsession with the first moments. It's all about the first moments. And so some of you do have amazing videos that you spent a really long time on, but it took you 45 seconds to get to the point of the video, and you lost everybody. And so if you can just get to the point faster and say as much as you can with as few words as you can, you may realize, like, you don't want to make a 45-minute video if you can say it in 5. And so it's about value per second, not seconds of value. And that, by the way, goes for everybody who's in education. So if you help people, if you train people, you do whatever, it's about how can I distill this in as few words as humanly possible. And if you've never done this before, take your words, put them into Hemingway or any writing app that gives you a grade level. Keep beating it up until you get to 3rd grade. And then look at what the language looks like. If you start speaking in that way, people will understand you better. What you're not going to do is people are like, if people can't understand me, I don't want their business. It's like, well, I do. Their money spends the same. And so what happens is, if you make it simpler for people to understand, more people will, and the people at the top will simply enjoy it more, because it requires less mental effort for them to consume it. Which, by the way, part of the reason that being an authority and having proof that you can do what you say you can do matters is because it's actually more efficient for the listener. If you're a teacher who says they can help me to invest, you might have information that's better than Warren Buffett's, but I constantly have to appraise what you're saying in real time to decide whether I do think it's better or not. If the richest man in the world gives you investing advice, you actually don't have, you turn that part of your brain off. You're like, I'm just going to listen and take it as fact. And so it's actually lazier consumption to listen to an authority, which comes into whole ethical things around persuasion. But like, fundamentally, that is why demonstrating authority is so important, because it actually makes it easier for them. It's less effort for the consumer.
Yeah, and so like what that looks like for so many people here. Yeah, and so like what that looks like for so many people here is like, hey, yeah, and so like what that looks like for so many people here is like, hey, yeah, and so like what that looks like for so many people here is like, hey, in the last 12 months I've been able to help this many clients do this result, or show one of those results, and then now we're watching it. Viewers, average viewers watching, saying, I don't have to decide if this guy's full of shit. I can just listen to the video or watch the video. So I love that. And so we talk about TTV in the business sense, and when we have our products, and TTV stands for time to value. Is this the same concept in video? 100%. Okay, so like talk about value for a second. So a lot of the people in the room who said, let's do this because I think this is really helpful for people here and watching this. People that said they spent a lot of time on that video and they thought it was going to be a banger and it wasn't. It bombed. It got like 13 views on YouTube and it got 8 on Instagram, and they're like, they DM me at 11 o'clock at night saying, Neil, I know you're preaching content, but this doesn't work for me. Yeah. It was probably because of this. Yeah. It's most likely. No, 100%. 100%. Well, there's two extremes. If you're that person, right? So if you're that person talking to you, so you have two options. One is you can say, I will never do content again. I mean, that's like taking the logical extreme. Like, that's it. I will never try again. I am so fragile that me putting an hour into a video and not working out, that I will forever forego a free form of advertising that could get me customers. Like, that's what you can do, right? Like, that's an option. Or we try again. Like, that's it. Like, you try again, you make 10 videos that you spend an hour on, and you just look at the one that did better of the 10, and you say, what did this one have? The other was 7. And then you do more of that. And you, so over time, we talk about having, so, and I was not going to be saying, it's no silver bullets, only golden BBs. And so, the things that create excellence are never one big thing. If it was one big thing, everyone would do that big thing. And realistically, if there ever are silver bullets, everyone immediately starts doing them, and the whole industry moves up, and then it becomes baseline again. And so it's all the details. It's the 99 gold BBs that matter. And so if you don't already have checklists, live by checklists. Like, live, because you can't keep it all in your head. It's like, okay, I have to have interest, I have these 4 things, and I also like just have it in front of you. It's like, okay, let's make sure. And one of the things I would encourage you to do, like, I wish my team could like nod their heads right now. We will sometimes go through an entire video and finish it, and I'll be like, I think we could do that one just again, but better. And they're like, let's run it again. And so we run it again. And so we get to the end, we're like, I feel like we can do it better the 3rd time. It's like, alright, even though I've just said the same thing the last 2 hours, because I just did an hour-long video, took it again, hour-long video, took it again, and then the 3rd try comes out perfect. And then it crashes. And so, I think, like, one of my favorite things in trading is awesome again. Like, you're training a sales guy, you're like, awesome again. And so you're training yourself. You should think to yourself, like, awesome again. Yeah, and I love that because it's like more reps and just like also being change. All about the process. It's like you talked about success leaves clues. Why did this piece of content do better? How can we go deeper on that? And I love the idea of just having a checklist. This, like, really simply what you have to go through to make each video. What are all the elements of proof? Does this thing have it? What are all the ones, like, what are all the elements of it? This is the one proof video that I have really good. Okay, well, it started with a painful experience. Alright, let's make sure that all the ones we have start with painful experiences. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm saying hypothetically that would be one of the things we could have. Yeah, and so a lot of people are concerned about AI and, deep fakes and all these people making content and stuff. And AI can take over the content creation, but we talk about this controversy about how to get AI content like that. It's good, but AI is working for that. So, unless AI lies, we can't talk about what it did. So, unless AI lies, they can't talk about what it did in the real world.
So you could talk about what you've done.
So yeah, like documenting the stuff that you actually done.
So like you do shit, talk about what you did. Then no one else can talk about the stuff you did because only you did it.
It's very simple. I love that. And also, if you keep doing things, you'll never run out of ideas for your content.
100, like, but I often get that, like, where do you think of content ideas? I'm like, I have 100 other ones that I could probably make, but I look at my calendar, and I look at all the conversations that I had over the last week, and I think, this is kind of interesting, and guess what? We can get real life experiences, you have examples, because they're real, right? And so and I'm thinking for myself, for all content I make, it's very rare that theoretical content as well. Like, you want to teach a concept, it's like, concepts are, time-best. Like, giving people examples thinking you wrote them is what they value, they want you to think in their lives. And so, the best way to know that it will work in their life is that you told them that it worked in your life. And here's how, right? That's fundamentally, that's what we call 1-0 content, which is something that only we can make. And so everybody here can make content that no one else can make by simply talking about something you've done no one else has.
And this is interesting. We talk about people. We talk about
one way out of it. So there's two ways that you can show proof, right? So if you're advanced or you've been doing this a while, then you want to show proof results. Period. As many as possible can. I'm going to talk about most people. If you're newer, you can show proof of effort. So I could have said I made 35,000 posts. That's still enough work that people are like, well, I want to do that work. I'm going to see what you learn. It's fundamentally you're making content. The easiest phrase to use is how can I get some time back? So people want to buy time at market. And so if you can just say, look, this took me. You know, I took 1,000 sales calls. Like for me, even when I was saying this now, I reviewed. It took me 4 hours to review 2,000 ads. You're like, well, I don't have to make 2,000 ads. It takes 4 hours. I'll listen. Like, what's the thing that you learned? Right? Like that's the idea. And so you can do that by just looking at the stuff that you're missing. So this process of look back, see what worked. That is how you create content. It's how you solve your problems. It's when you make a routine. Just tell other people about it. Because you were like, another team's going to use my checklist. Lots of teams use my checklist. It hasn't made me less money.
Yeah, you can set something recently where somebody said, hey, I feel like close to my work. And they're like, oh, I can't. No, like, I don't know how to, like, can you explain this one? Like,
yeah, sure. No, I had a guy who was like, hey, I really hate, like, he saw me walking around in public. He was like, I used to hate you for a really long time, man. And I was like, cool. He's like, I don't anymore. Thanks, yeah. And then he DM'd me afterwards, his father, he was like, hey, because you're still posting, but I got over 5 minutes for a second. I don't fucking are, man. like, no. But the thing is, like, do you think it's possible that close the word is something that many salespeople have talked about, and it's got 5 or 6 letters in it, so it's kind of easy?
Husband, he's a dear friend, he's a good human being, and I'm so glad we got to know each other. Yes.
If you have nothing going for you, if you have nothing going for you, it's another way of saying you have nothing to lose. And so it means that you have endless shots on goal, and so you should be the most prone to taking action because there's nothing holding you back.
Own your future. Because if you don't, someone else will. Welcome back to the Own Your Future podcast. You know, I've been so blessed to bring on friends that are so and have so much depth of knowledge that this podcast has been doing incredible since our new launch. And I want to say thank you for that. And today, to say this gentleman's a friend, I think everybody says that when they first do an interview. This is my buddy, Alex, our guest who I'll interview here in a minute, and I met via text. And we spent like 6 months or a year getting to know each other. I laughed every morning at our text. You know what we laughed at before I introduced the formal stuff? It was a time where both of us waited to invest in cryptocurrency, and we both talked about it, and we both equally went in the day it reached its peak. Am I lying? And then we decided that it crashed after that we would not invest anymore because we didn't want to hurt the rest of the investors. So anyway, we built an amazing friendship via text. We got together and hit it off. He is truly one of the smartest marketers I've ever met, smartest businessman. He is an incredible husband. He's a dear friend. He's a good human being. And I'm so glad we got to know each other. Yes, he built 5 companies in like record time, over $120 million, exited out of multiple companies. Now he's got a massive portfolio of companies that he's a part of that do $200 million a year in revenue. He's on fire. He owns acquisition.com. You see him all over social media. I'm so glad to have my friend here, Alex Hurns. What's up, man?
That was like the nicest intro. Thank you. I'm very messed up.
It's true, man. The fun part, I wish we could share some of the text. I literally remember being in the gym and I couldn't get back to it like in the next set because I was still laughing so hard. So it's been a fun relationship. You know, I'll Your Future podcast. You know, I was telling you about tonight, the chat about 3 years ago, Your Future. I was on a podcast. And so I said, why don't you Your Future? My reply was, shit. If you don't do something else, don't. And that hit me. And I watched everybody's talking like, oh my God, because you don't think about your career failure, your old beliefs failure, your current income stretching yourself to find out. So this is what I'm going to be loving you. And I get the thing, about our decisions. So that's why, so we'll get this fun stuff. I'm going to go personal with friends. But I love that question. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to us?
So I think it means high efficiency. So when we're kids, we learn what the world means. And so like, you have good as you're really counting on what things mean. And so like the first thing we learn are only a few people around us that have outside of the world. And then once we turn 16, 17, 18, 20, we all suddenly like, I don't know everything that everyone has told me what things mean. Right? And so we spend the rest of our lives trying to unlearn what everyone has told us and then pick up that for ourselves.
That's amazing. And actually, you're working with which I just like, is that my father's perspective or is that reality? And what is reality?
Yeah. And so my personally has been to dissect decisions and think like, is this decision I'm making because I believe this or because what I want other people to think about me as a result of this decision? And we're social beings. We care about what people think. And I would recommend to like get completely rid of that from us. I mean, you have to be origami or Buddha, right? But at least I can try and be aware of how much something influences me. And at least gives me the awareness. Okay, warning flags. This is a sensitive subject that your dad always wanted for you. Be extra careful around decisions that go in this direction. And so I just take that extra pause to face and say, okay, is this really me or is this because I want him to think this about me? And like dad's really what it could be your brother, sister, your spouse, your ex-wife. You know what I mean? That rival, or competitor, whoever it is.
The moment that I realized this,
at the time, was an angry 19-year-old. Some of us are, and probably unrightfully so. But I really disliked both my parents, really heavily. And I remember thinking to myself, like, they messed me up. I have all these anger issues. Like, I hate everyone. I'm a little bit. And I remember catching myself waiting and thinking to myself, that means that I give them all the right. Like, they're my finger names also power bombs. Like, power bombs. And so I was like, what am I going to do now? Because maybe they didn't. It doesn't matter. It's only me who can my future. Otherwise, they're going to live my future the rest of my life. And then the thing that made it crap.
Control is one of the